farmer welfare now more can, like I said, no one penisi and nona edana kumaso. Say the kwafo enijia koko ebeko neni. Enti there. There's no doubt about that. Now, smuggling, no, I'm say me bar aha last week, no, say we not penny for money. I'm say one of the very first appointments on my penny here was National Security Advisor named National Security Coordinator. Until now, alright. Penny director. Only national security for starting share that until me buy no na Omama a whole retired general Abaha Omo share edin share at 2 many share 2 or 3 times. Me and Kasa, one of the very first meetings I made outside the harness say Thursday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday now.
This is a House of Records, and you have often made that statement, House of Records. The honorable member referenced some data, and I'm saying, for the number of months we were in Parliament before the 8th Parliament was dissolved, I do not remember such volume of mining licenses coming to Parliament for approval. Would you confirm this or not?
That we must work hard to unearth. Successive governments have taken a lot of steps. What is really preventing this to happen is for us to get a strategic...
Honorable members, let there be order so that we can listen to the answers.
What has really prevented the takeoff is a strategic investor that will be prepared to really invest the huge billions of dollars that is required in this area. But it also requires us to really do a lot of preparatory works. As Minister, I am going to work with the agencies involved to make sure that we can position ourselves to attract such investments.
Thank you, and I wish you well.
8th Parliament, just the tail or the end of the 8th Parliament before dissolution and dissolution of the 8th Parliament. Are you aware, or your briefing from the ministry before appearing before this committee, are you aware, or have you been briefed, whether there was some mining licenses over 100 that was approved?
Not seen any rebuttal from the Minerals Commission on this matter.
Chairman, I think my question is not answered by the nominee. I am saying that, Chairman, I clarify my question. Chairman,
Axim or Takoradi and make the decisions without all these long processes that you have described. And I believe that we have to support the Land Commission to continue this digitalization process.
Honourable Minister, the ministry...
Honourable questioner, let me remind you that you are not entitled to a follow-up question, so proceed to ask a substantive question.
So this is my second question. Honourable Minister, the ministry you are going to, lands, you have about 4 other ministries that are likely to deal with issues of climate and the environment. So you have the Ministry of Lands, you have the one Honorable Mutala, my very good friend, is likely to go to. And then you have Ministry of Energy and Transitions. Is it Green Transitions? And Sustainable Change. What I'm trying to find out. And then you also have a Minister of State in charge of climate change and sustainability. Who is going to be the lead person with reference to issues of the environment and climate change? And what is going to be your role? as Minister of Lands?
Chairman, I think that is why all these ministers, some of the ministries you mentioned are our cabinet positions. I believe that there will be an opportunity to collaborate closely with these ministries in working out and making sure that we are effective in implementing government policy. My good friend, the nominee for Environment, Science and Technology, is a very smart man. I've worked with him on the trade committee, and we have very good working relationship. And I believe that I'll do the same with my other colleagues in energy, who, quite frankly, was my deputy in energy, and is more than my brother. We work together. I think we'll have a chance to collaborate even more better.
So, Mr. Chair, is a follow-up. So, under this ministry, are we looking at issues of galamsey, environmental pollution, and who is going to be given the powers to deal with them directly?
Honorable members, the nominee has answered the question to the effect that there will be a cabinet meeting. And at that particular cabinet, the president has the right to say that I want the minister responsible for environment, I want the minister responsible for lands to do ABCD. So,
with due respect, we are all here. I don't know if any of us heard the leader saying that. I haven't heard that. I'm not surprised if you say that. We didn't hear that.
Laid out what must be done in all these instances. As Minister, I will work with the Lands Commission and the experts there to make sure that the letter and spirit of those laws are enforced, and that those who are breaking the laws are brought to book.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Our water bodies and natural resources as a whole, giving it names such as state capture. As a sector minister, will you allow individuals, institutions, and private organizations to acquire state lands other than state and its agencies? Thank you.
Chairman, I have already stated that we must jealously protect state and public lands and make sure that if it is important at all in the interest of the state to sell any state land, we do so such a way that the people of Ghana will not be shortchanged. And as minister, I will make sure that happens, and that's what I will do.
So if I got your answer right, you allow individuals to acquire properties. Is that correct?
Chairman, I will be guided by the laws of this country. As I've said, as we speak today, there's a clear directive for the halt processing of any public or state land pending the review and the report. I'm sure when I get a chance as a minister, I'll review this and I'll be guided by that, making sure we understand that it is in the interest of the people of Ghana for us as people who have been privileged to serve them to jealously protect their lands.
Thank you. Follow up.
You don't have a right to ask a follow-up question on a follow-up unless you need to take the follow-up question as a substantive question, by which you'll be entitled to do a follow-up.
Yes, it's made for lands. Please, have you averted your mind respectfully to the processes by which one has to go through to acquire or to be granted a government lease? Do you know the steps?
Personal story of I just gave you my address. My processes to get my land title at the Lands Commission is probably in the third year, and that is enough to tell me that there's a lot of work to be done there to make sure that we simplify those processes and allow Ghanaians to have utmost customer service on time when they want to access any of the services at the Lands Commission.
So my question was to the effect of state lands, but I'm sure perhaps you do not. So I'll depart and ask just a follow-up on the same one. So before you get a state land, you write an application to the effect. That is when you have seen a parcel. And when you do so, the Lands Commission now would conduct a search. And when the search is conducted, it will tell you whether or not the land belongs to the state or government. And when that is done, they now write to the municipal or metropolitan or district assembly in which the land is to ask for what they call the planning comments. When same is done, they revert to Lands Commission. Lands Commission now would go on to say that this land is available. They've given us a comment, it's either residential or commercial or misuse. And then they proceed to tell you that we will now go to do an assessment and an inspection. When same is done, and Mr. Chair, I'm doing this just for the purposes of, for minister to know that.
Well, if you doubt it, listen to me. When I'm done, the video is all over social media. Speaker, I felt abused. Please address me. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, I felt very abused. And there I felt, how can a man be killed in his own backyard? Even if there should be any crucifixion, the crucifixion should not be done in my own house. So reasonably, I reached out to the chair of the committee and reported same matter. Members who were present, who heard it, who witnessed it, all came to corroborate my story.
Indeed, it wasn't pleasant, especially when our colleagues were only performing their duties as members of parliament. The incident is very regrettable, but I took consolation in the fact that my colleague confirmed that the individual involved actually approached and apologized profusely. Mr. Speaker, this individual is not one of the repeat offenders who denigrate Parliament repeatedly. So, Mr. Speaker, in brief, I was only going to say that I know my colleague is not a difficult person. And since the individual involved has apologized, I was just going to appeal to my colleague to let this matter rest. I'm sure the individual involved would have learned her lessons by now.
You have been a torchbearer of wanting to preserve the honor and dignity of Parliament, the honor and dignity of members of Parliament, and more importantly, the honor and dignity of our political class. So, to honorable members, we do not and we should not accept that conduct and that insult. Today it is him, tomorrow it may be you. That is why we must stand united in condemning it. But to honorable minority whip, I'm pleading with you that because it's a woman, and you know Ghanaian society and our patriarchal values, forgive her. But before the forgiveness, as the Honorable Doyo, the Deputy Whip said, leader, the Honorable Mahama Yarga, we should get the affected person to render an unqualified apology to the minority whip and follow with a retraction of the story, and that should let matters rest. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. You have been a torchbearer of wanting to preserve the honor and dignity of Parliament, the honor and dignity of members of Parliament, and more importantly, the honor and dignity of our political class.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us here on Good Morning Ghana. My name is Awudu Moro. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. I know you tune in every morning because it's the quality of the conversation we have here. It's unbiased, it's critical, it's thought-provoking, and it's very informative, and that's why you tune. Of course, it's also very, very fact-checking, and that's why you tune into Good Morning Ghana. I'll go straight ahead and look at what the big stories in the front page of the newspapers are. So I'll start with the Daily Graphic today. The Daily Graphic this morning is reporting, it says, Oponi Agongo freed. There's Mining Support Association commits to responsible practices. Military deployment will be restricted, Defense Minister designate. And it comes to the picture of Dr. Omani Boamah, who is the sector minister when approved. PPP's key to infrastructure deficit, Visha Shabo, has been talking. And there's BCE back to pre-COVID June calendar. NPA CEO pledges to improve authority. Lakeside Estate welcomes Supreme Court ruling. That's for the Daily Graphic. The Ghanaian Times. Homeless takeover Kwame Nkrumah interchange pose threat to public. Appointment committee summons Oliver Barker-Vormawor over bribery allegation. And there's Ghana to get $150 million from the World Bank, that's WB, to improve energy sector. Dr. Oponi Sedu Agongo acquitted, discharged by Accra High Court. The New Crusading Guide this morning is reporting. It says that Amin Adam riles against Mohammed's economic dialogue, says it is a disguise for lack of economic plan. I regret them. Amakofibua cowers over tirade against Akufo-Addo. Now, cocoa farmers' welfare top on my agenda, Dr. Randiabe. She who must be obeyed pops up at national security. Lithovate liquid fertilizer trial, state drops all charges against Oponi and Agongo. Now, our wing chiefs accuse NDC MP of engaging in galamsey, but MP denies. The Insight newspaper, Paramount Jassey slams ex-president Akufo-Addo for allegedly aiding the illegal usurpation of Ga Manchester. Alex Segbefia, Amaprat, others appointed to office of the vice president. Forum alleges rot at GPHA, calls on Oral, Yoko, NIB to investigate $90 million Buankra Inland Port project. As European leaders rewrite WWII history on Auschwitz liberation anniversary. The Inquisitor this morning is reporting. Changed atmosphere. Senna controls Blue Gate. State drops charges against Dr. Oponi Agongo. Dr. Omani Boamah don't apply to security service if you don't qualify. Assures of equity in recruitment. The Herald newspaper. Akufo-Addo, Godfrey Dame's political persecution of Oponi and Agongo ends. NIA boss accuses Anodompre of telling a big lie in verbal spat. He threatened Hardcastle over micro-minority remark. Mahama wants cheaper fuel prices for Ghanaians, MPA boss. There's minority rejects Kofi as a political payback move to appease ex-president and wife. Barker-Vormawor vows to prove bribery allegations against MPs today. The Daily Statesman. Opuni walks free. AG drops case of causing financial loss. Job for NDC big boys in Veep office. Eugene Boachi entry. NPP will rise stronger. The Ghanaian publisher Omani Buama eats humble pie over GIS land grab claim. Did he eat humble pie? Anyway. Kofi Bua makes U-turn, shows respect to Akufo-Addo. Opuni acquitted and discharged. My God has disgraced my enemies. Sahel states to participate in 2025 APD. Acting NPA boss pledges to lift petroleum sector. The Accra Times. My priorities for Upper East. Bolga Airport, the Chuchuliga Sandema to Wiesi Road, Regional Minister designate. Anti-LGBTQ1I+ bill, I can't stay in an ungodly country. Speaker Babing. Edward Bauer storms GMPC as new CEO. Grateful to President Mahama for the honor. As President Mahama fulfills campaign promise. Gold board inaugurated. Technical committee set up to draft legal framework. Closure of Witches Camp. Cautious engagement needed. Northeast Minister designate. The Custodian. New NPA boss promises innovation. Boa affirms respect for Akufo-Addo. Bawumia lists 7 threats to African democracy. Baka Vomawo faces MPs today. African leaders to grace APD 2025. And the Daily Post. President Mahama sacks SEC boss, appoints Dr. Aveji as acting head. As all charges against Opuni Agongo dropped, Omani Buama combating Galamsey needs more than a military action. I will collaborate with private sector to fund housing initiatives. Kenneth J. Kenneth J. is the Minister for Housing designate. All right, so we'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll be introducing my guests, and then the conversation will start. Stay with us.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV. GoTV. Love it.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Welcome to the Alisa Brunch, your special Sunday treat. Good food, great and relaxing ambience, and excellent service. Come to your second home every Sunday. The Alisa Sunday Brunch.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
So what about what your papa
This is my secret. Give us pea capsules. Emma, I want to go from now on to me to my ding one pen. Give us pea capsules. Over to us, Mama. Oh no, enemy lawyer.
And to lawyer no na show bottom. Are you bro? Are you bro? They na pon me see ba chia mo a ese ni die.
Bosano.
No. You dey na fi waka wo. E fa ni give us cold capsules. Say yes yare na wo so ko di di wo ni pedwem woni na wo posa amaman entimi ma wunja wo nan yi. Wonum give us cold capsules a. Obey free.
Lawyer.
Give us cold capsules.
And I give us pea capsules.
Hey, and they give us free.
Obey Chinasuma.
And men what if you do what you do cronkwan ever. Give us cold capsules. A pain for a batter and one more menu for an inquadawin if you do me nunca.
Well, if you doubt it, listen to me. When I'm done, the video is all over social media. Speaker, I felt abused.
Please address me.
Speaker, with the greatest of respect, I felt very abused. And
There and there, I felt, how can a man be killed in his own backyard? Even if there should be any crucifixion, the crucifixion should not be done in my own house. So reasonably, I reached out to the chair of the committee and reported same matter. Members who were present, who heard it, who witnessed it, all came to corroborate my story. I think, Speaker, I want to put this on record, that even though she passed by to render a certain lame apology, it is totally unacceptable. Speaker, I am compelled to resort to this approach. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have done it. And when I came in, I saw my colleague, Honorable Governance, who I'm very close to, Leader of the House. Forgive me, I didn't tell you about this. I related to him that, have I done something wrong to this lady? Why would I be abused to this extent? Why I haven't said anything? I haven't provoked you in any way. So not to belabor the point, I feel my reputation is lowered by these attacks. And the video, thankfully, there were good people around who recorded it. The video is all over. And traditional media houses are showing the video. And don't forget, it's not about me. It's about an institution called Parliament. Coincidentally, a citizen had made wild allegations against the appointment committee. And that was the subject matter of discussion, which generated into a disagreement. And so because we have not taken any action, people think they can subject Parliament and turn Parliament into a punching bag. This is unfortunate. And I'm told she's a lawyer. I was surprised the attitude she put out. So I am respectfully bringing this to your notice and further invite you. So pending the formation, I'm fully aware we have not constituted our committees. So pending the formation of the privilege committee, Speaker, I am inviting you and making pleadings to you. And I know you are one person, you are very passionate about Parliament and the respect that we should command in society as an arm of government. I'm humbly inviting you to make consequential orders and to ensure that this matter is dealt with ultimately. I am a man who respects womanhood. So in the face of extreme provocation, I just kept my calm, I kept my cool and walked away. But this abuse is a potential abuse on any of us in this chamber. And I invite my colleagues to speak in corroboration, speak in support of this action that I'm inviting Speaker to do. For us, for once, let's look into the faces of our fellow compatriots and tell them that we also demand some respect in this country. The executive is respected.
All right, this is Good Morning Ghana. Thank you very much for staying with us. I would always thank you because without you, we don't have a show. So my guests for this morning, as I'm about to introduce them, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. He's with us this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And also, Mr. Amoako Abuedu, who is Kingsley Amoako Abuedu is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the MPP's communications and legal team. He's also taking time off his busy schedule to join us this morning. Kingsley, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you too.
How are you, my brother?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So, I'll start with a report or a publication by the Ghanaian Times. And of course, it comes to all of it. It comes to none of us as a surprise because we all know what has happened in Parliament. There have been some veterans this week. We've seen some veterans. We have seen, of course, discussions about the quality of questions as usual and whether Parliament is taking Ghanaians seriously and so on. That's a separate conversation that we may have to revisit. But there have been some side issues. We've seen Parliament summoning Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who is with the Democracy Hub. We've also seen some verbal exchanges, very heated verbal exchange between the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Emma Fahad Castle, and with the MP for Nsawam Adwejiri, that's the Honorable Arnaud Dompré, and Speaker intervening and saying that he was going to deal with the matter himself and come back to the House, which is the Parliament, and report what the outcomes, and if there are any sanctions thereof, he would do that. So if you look at the Ghanaian Times this morning, page 4, it says Appointments Committee summons Oliver Barker-Vormawor over bribery allegation. And the story is right here. It says that, so Raisa Sambu, was a report for the Ghanaian Times, reports that the chairman of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, Mr. Bernard Ahiafo, has directed the clerk to the committee to summon political activist and co-convener of Democracy Hub, Mr. Oliver Barker-Vormawor, to appear before the committee today to substantiate allegations of bribery against its members. Now, this follows a media statement by Mr. Barker-Vormawor, alleging that members of the committee, particularly the majority side, demand bribes from nominees before approving their appointments. He also claimed that such practice delayed the vetting process. Addressing the matter, Mr. Ahiafo described allegations as false and damaging, stressing the need to protect the integrity of the committee. I, Bernard Ahiafo, chairman of the Appointments Committee, want to place on record that neither myself nor any committee member demands money from nominees before vetting and approval. He said the chairman assured his readiness to be investigated by any relevant authority and further stressed the importance of addressing the allegations promptly. I'm directing the clerk to the committee to invite Mr. Vormawor to appear tomorrow, which is today, to provide evidence to back his claims, or we will apply the necessary law, Mr. Ahiafo added. The minority members of the committee supported the decision and suggested the suspension of the vetting process until the matter is resolved. According to Minority Chief Whip Arnaud Dompré, the accusations had undermined the credibility of the committee. Until we clear our names, we have no business vetting. We facilitated vetting even on days we were not supposed to speed up the process. Now we must protect our integrity. But before then, we all know that there was some kind of a heated debate between the minority side and the majority side on the Appointments Committee as to whether the vetting should even take place or not. But let's actually find out what Vormawor himself has been saying about the matter. Now, if you look at the Herald newspaper, I said Barker-Vormawor vows to prove bribery allegations against MPs today. Now, activist and lawyer Oliver Barker-Vormawor has expressed readiness to appear before Parliament's Appointments Committee today, January 29, 2025, to substantiate his allegations that the committee demanded money from ministerial nominees in exchange for approval. This follows a summons by the Appointments Committee of Parliament. Mr. Barker-Vormawor, a lawyer, appears before it following the allegations of bribery level against the committee members. The claims, which have stirred significant public interest, were made ahead of the vetting session for Defense Minister-designate Dr. Edward Kofi Omanebuama held yesterday, Tuesday, January 7. In a post on X, of course, formerly Twitter, Mr. Barker-Vormawor stated, "I look forward to appearing before the committee tomorrow as he prepares to face the committee on Wednesday." And this is what, as you can see, we've displayed that on the screen. So he says, so Sergeant for Oliver Barker-Vormawor said, "This is how a democracy improves. I look forward to appearing before the Appointments Committee tomorrow. Thank you." This is exactly what he wrote on X, and I believe on Facebook as well. Let me start with Mr. Kwesi Pratt. Mr. Kwesi Pratt, what do you make of this?
Well, I think that this is a very simple matter. It's not complicated at all. If indeed members of the Appointments Committee have been demanding bribes, to carry out their duty, it is clearly an offense. Not just an offense, it's a criminal offense. And for which those who have received and paid bribes ought to suffer sanctions as prescribed by the law. It would also substantially damage the integrity and perhaps the credibility of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, and by extension, Parliament itself. So this is a very, very serious allegation. On the other hand, if the allegations are frivolous, without any foundation and so on, we ought to take a serious view of it, because to impugn the integrity of the Appointments Committee and Parliament itself would be injurious to the practice of democracy in this country, and it ought to be taken very, very seriously. I'm intrigued by the fact that Mr. Vomawo claims to have evidence and claims that he has the capacity to prove the allegations he made before the Appointments Committee today. We are waiting for the outcome in a few hours, perhaps even minutes. The drama would unfold, and I want to see a situation where he's given all the opportunities to prove his case. If he's unable to prove his case, then of course the law must apply. And I think we should avoid the situation where people who are in the public space, like you, like him, take advantage of the opportunities that are available to them and go berserk. If that is the case, it should not be tolerated at all. And Mr. Vomawo ought to be dealt with as any other citizen who infracts the law, So that's my position. The Appointments Committee today would give him an opportunity to prove his case, and if he's unable to do so, the consequences are very clear. So I have nothing more to say.
All right. Kingsley.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Good morning to Agokwesi. I think this is the first time I'm meeting you, and I'm glad I'm on the same platform with you to deliberate on national issues. I agree with Agokwesi on this matter, that to say that the whole Appointment Committee of Parliament is engaged in bribery, or corruption, is a very serious thing. It's a very serious offense. And we are developing a democracy. And so you would think that people that the President of the Republic of Ghana has chosen to go and man certain ministries, he would have reasons for choosing them to go there. And for that to be just put on a silver platter to the extent that you can just go and pay for so they approve you, it's not something that anyone would want to hear. And so if he has, and just like you showed, he said he has evidence, all right, or he's glad to go there, which means that he may have evidence, and he's a lawyer. So he should know what he's saying. But I also want to talk about this, that it looks like this matter of freedom of expression, if you're not careful, will take it to an extent where anyone will do something to gain a voice in Ghana. It's not easy to become a voice in Ghana. I used to, when I was in KNUST, Uncle used to come around. We all moved to Unity Hall, always around, and watch him. And we all aspire to be like him, who is a voice, all right? Whatever political party becomes the government, he will critique them, he will offer advice. That's a voice, all right? It looks like Oliver is trying to cast himself in that mold, all right? And he's not there yet. And so the little publicity he seemed to have gained, I think I saw a program where they're talking about constitutional review, and it was one of those people who was allowed, who had the privilege of giving a keynote address, right, or some form of address. If you gotten your stage to that, yourself to that stage, you should guard it. You don't put any information you get out there. It could maybe a rumor he has or anything. You don't just put it out there just for notoriety. All right. I remember the case of Honorable Kendapa against him. It is still in court.
Yes.
Where at times he doesn't even appear in court. I think the last time they went to court, his lawyer couldn't come. the lawyer of Kandapa wanted costs against him.
There's a 10 million defamation case against
Yes.
him. Yeah.
So when you
All
have
against
this going against you, you should be careful. And in our profession, we are lawyers, in our profession, there are certain things you just do not do. All right. So if it is not true, and he's not had the opportunity to come and prove his case, if it's not true, then there are dire consequences. And I think we should look at those. If it's true, then all those involved, I think they have questions to answer. And we can't just take it, it's one of those. It's not one of those. It is that they must be there to do a proper job, to vet the persons. And we're all interested. I mean, all the media, the main media houses are showing it in the afternoons. Some of us, when you come from court, you have time to watch snippets of it. You do. And so it's important. Let it not be marred by hearsays. If it's not hearsays, let him come and prove his case.
I see. It surprises me, though. I mean, as a lawyer, I mean, you would expect much better in terms of his sense of judgment. I mean, to put out an allegation like this and actually even muster the confidence to say that, yes, I'm going to go to Parliament and prove my case. I mean, that's the impression I get from that, the reaction to him being summoned before Parliament. But you notice, Uncle Kwesi, that there was a heated debate between the minority and the majority side on the appointments committee as to whether the vetting should proceed or not. The minority made a simple case, which is that, look, we don't want a situation where we're going to vet and then, possibly approve you. And then the public is going to think that you gave us money, and that's why we approved you. And so we don't want to be a part of this until the substantive matter is heard. It is either he has evidence to come and prove that you, the chairman of the appointments committee, and some of your colleagues, remember he was, the allegation was more to do with the chairman and his colleagues on the majority side. And that until he has evidence to prove that indeed you, the chairman of the appointments committee, you take money before vetting and approving people, we are not interested in continuing with this. And then the minority side, of course, with the chairman himself, saying that yes, we totally understand your feeling, we totally understand where you're coming from, but we cannot punish Dr. Omane Boamah, who is sitting before us. He's here with his family, relatives, and everybody else who is there to support him. We can't ask the man to go back just on account of an allegation by just one person. In any case, the business of government must continue or must go on. Uncle Kwesi, do you think that the decision by the appointments committee to even continue with the vetting, despite this allegation that was made against the commission, against the committee, do you think that it was an appropriate or accurate sense of judgment on their part, or you think they should have suspended it till the matter was heard?
Well, first of all, I don't see how asking a nominee to go home and come back the next day can be described as punishment. That's very strange. If there are circumstances which make it impossible for a committee of parliament to continue sitting and witnesses are asked to go home, that cannot be punishment. And I was watching the vetting process, and I was really surprised about that kind of claim that asking Dr. Omane Boamah and his supporters to go home would amount to punishment. In the first place, I mean, those who followed him there, really, what is their role in the process? And there's something which has developed over the years, and I find particularly repugnant. You understand? This question of mobilizing people from MPs, constituencies, and from all over the place to come and show solidarity and so on, in a certain sense is meant to intimidate, to show that, look, these are the big men and so on behind me, and you better be careful, how you deal. And I find it extremely repugnant. I think that we should stop it, somehow. Because also, I mean, it has very serious financial implications. Right. Imagine that somebody from Wa or Bolga and so on is appearing before the appointments committee, and all the chiefs in his locality are mobilized to come to Accra. And sometimes there are 20, 30, 40 people. Even the transport cost alone is mind-boggling. And then when they come to Accra, the minister, the nominated minister, has to take care of their accommodation, their feeding, and so on. Why would you impose these burdens on the nominees from the very beginning? How much do our members of parliament and ministers earn? And we've all been complaining that the burdens imposed on them by their constituents and so on may be a reason why, sometimes they have to cut corners in order to make some money to satisfy those conditions and so on. And we are beginning to see that this practice of bringing supporters to the appointments committee and so on is not diminishing. I mean, it's increasing. The numbers of people are increasing, the prominence of the people who follow them and so on. So we need to stop that. And that should not become a basis, for deciding whether to continue the work of the appointments committee or not. I would think that the minority had a point, okay? But in the final analysis, that point, I think, was overstretched. I mean, if there are question marks about the integrity of members of the appointments committee and so on, it's only fair that those issues be cleared before the appointment committee continues its work. You understand? But under the circumstances, I listened to the chairman of the appointments committee who made the point that we are not ignoring the matter. The matter has just come before us and we've taken appropriate measures, including extending an invitation to the person who made the allegations to come before us. So we can continue with the vetting and then deal with the issues much later. It didn't make sense to me, and I didn't see why the issue was dragged over a very long period of time. Today, Vomao would appear before the committee.
Yeah.
It may appear that the allegations are frivolous without any foundation. It's possible. It may also turn out that he has evidence, and that will be exceedingly interesting. If it turns out that he has evidence, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be exceedingly interesting. All of us are waiting to see what will happen in the Appointments Committee of Parliament today.
It's going to be sooner rather than later. Kingsley, can I assume safely that you agree with the minority that the vetting shouldn't have continued in order to safeguard and protect the integrity and the image and reputation of Parliament?
I think, just like they keep on telling us, Parliament is a law. They are bound by their own laws. All right, and so
the masters of their own rules.
Yeah, masters of their own rules. Yes, yeah. Thanks for correcting me. Now, because of that, the consideration as to whether they should continue or not cannot be because of the invited persons.
Okay.
They, as they term it, they are strangers in the house. They are invitees. All right. I think they go through a process before they are allowed in.
In fact, I'm told the numbers have been reduced to as well. The numbers have been reduced to 10 now. Whether they would abide by it.
But what I saw,
it was more than 10.
It's more than 10.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe we'll start today.
And all of them are coming with some very powerful chiefs.
Yes.
In their traditional regalia, coming to sit there. And I mean, if he's coming with his spouse and one or two persons, of course, that's understandable. So I think, and I've been in a situation where I went with someone, and after that we were all, sent to a very nice place for lunch and all that. And I just went back to my office. And I mean, can imagine those who traveled outside. They're not able to go back. You should put them in a nice hotel and whatnot, and then give them transportation to go back. So I think that is a burden we are placing, or those appointees are placing on themselves. And I think they should watch, or we should do something about that. But whether or not the vetting should continue should not be because they have invited, or whether or not it is fair on them. They just came to observe something that Parliament in itself is doing. I think it is most important for the public and the parliamentarians themselves to prove to us that, I think the burden rather is on Oliver though, but because it's in the public domain where you are sent to the public court, or the court of public opinion, it has to be clear that nothing untoward is happening concerning this appointment, concerning the vetting of this appointment, all right, of these appointees. Because of that, it must be gone into. If it is just one person who's seeking attention, we must all know that, all right, because a lot has been said by this particular individual, and all just gets swept under the carpet because of probably one person getting some political capital out of it or the other, and then it comes back again, and then something's happened. I even heard that this criminal matter in court, there are talks of a nolli prosequi being issued and all that. And speaking of which, I think someone else, a nolli prosequi has been issued against Opuni's case.
Yes.
Yes, and the rapidity with which, when there's a change of government, nolli prosequis are issued, I think is something we have to look at.
It's another conversation we can have.
We can have, yes. Now, for this, if it's not dealt with, and the vetting goes on and on, you remember there's another issue where the shortest time a lady has had is 10 minutes. The regional minister for Greater Accra, 10 minutes. And there was no question asked. Yes. And he says acknowledge the persons. And they actually made reference to those who have come to sit behind her to say that, I mean, she of course,
the enormity of the respect they have for the people who came with her, and the fact that she's done her homework well, whatever that means.
Exactly, because you see, I was encouraged, I was pleased that he had two former Greater Accra regional ministers who are in my party, Henry Korte and Honorable Tatus Glover. Yes, and even when they let her off, the first thing she did was go and hug Henry Korte, proper hug, all right, and the same pleasantries. Fine, I think that it means that our democracy is evolved. It got into a stage where there's nothing.
Well, I disagree, but that's fine.
So for that part, I was pleased that happened.
Okay.
But the fact that because of these individuals, you have done your good job, I don't get it. Greater Accra, we have serious issues in Greater Accra.
Right.
But we wanted to know what are your views and how are you going to surmount these challenges? Sanitation issues, transportation issues. We have people.
Issues.
Yes, we have people parking. Have you seen the front of 37?
Yep.
These guys park willy-nilly. If you are following, you can be.
Yeah.
It's like you rather who is seeking to do the right thing.
Right.
You are rather a nuisance to them. Yeah. All right, and several other things. So and even Medina, the parking there. All right, we have security issues. All right, we have chieftaincy issues. We have several issues. All right, so at least we wanted to know what are your views on these. Okay, so as I said, they're hugging and from different political divides, great, but that should have come after we have heard you. All right. To see how are you going to solve some of the problems. How are you going to interface with, because you are the head of RegSec, isn't it? And I've said here, there's DISEC, there's MUSEC, there's RegSec, and you are the regional minister. But then there's a local government who the MMDCs are supposed to respond to. How are you going to, so there's some overlap somewhere there in terms of functionalities. How are you going to address that? We want to hear from you. When the minister designate for fisheries appeared, everyone is praising her.
Yeah.
The minister for Ashanti Regional, the designate for Ashanti Region, the young man, everyone is praising him. So that in itself, I mean, it's not that we are marking you, but that in itself creates in the public mind some acceptability that this is a credible person, this is a person we can rely on to deliver. Then we go back and sit and look at how you have delivered, and we, of course, will critique you because we want results. All right, it's not about coming there to speak English, but at least it creates some level of acceptability that, oh yes, indeed the president was very thoughtful in choosing this particular person amongst a lot to come, you see, and take care of this sector or that sector, but we were deprived of that, you see. So back to the issue of whether or not it should happen, I think we need to satisfy ourselves that nothing has happened, someone didn't get 10 minutes because some brown envelopes happened or anything of that sort. Indeed, we just look at the person, we know her competencies, and we think she should just go. Remember that the Constitution says that a minister should be someone who qualifies as a member of parliament, isn't it? And she's also a member of parliament. I don't know whether this is her first term. I think she said more than this, isn't it? So they know her already. Right. So they can tell that this person is a competent person. All right. So we also need to factor in what levels of vetting are we going to have? Are we going to have the elongated one, 4 hours, where it looks like, oh, we were looking for you, now you have come, so let's squeeze you to see, and then some of them will just go, without asking proper throw-in questions. You see, we have to factor all these. But in the midst of all that, we cannot have at the back of our minds some bribery or corruption issue factoring into this. You see? So, by all means, if it had to be truncated, so we go into that, I think it is good. Yes, I think it is good.
In that look, members of the Appointments Committee need to understand very clearly that their work is at a cost to the state and also to citizens, even in their private capacity. First of all, this is being telecast live by many television stations. Now, if you calculate how much advertisements cost per minute, and we spend 10 hours at the Appointments Committee, that's a huge amount of money, which we are spending. Then come to think of the time, that people stop doing their work and so on to watch. You can also cost that in monetary terms, and even cost that in terms of social loss and social gain and so on, So what they're doing is at a cost. And they have a responsibility, to the extent that it is possible, to minimize the cost to all of us of this exercise. Vetting people for 10 hours, really, when at the end, both sides agree that there's nothing wrong, the person should be approved, is problematic. You understand? It's really problematic. Now, again, sometimes I sit back and I wonder. This gentleman who has been nominated to become Ashanti Regional Minister, I watch his meeting. Yeah. The guy comes in and then they start. Oh, we know you are a TikToker. I mean, all of you saw it. He says, yes. Oh, before you came to the committee, did you do any posting? He said, yes, I did. What did you post and so on? At that stage, I was thinking that somebody may have seen a post which would be relevant to his character or to his work or something.
True.
Nothing like that. So I'm sitting at home watching television and saying, what a joke. What is this about?
So you're questioning the relevance of that comment.
Exactly. I mean, it's reduced to some comical enterprise. You understand? Then there's another one, and the person is asked, what is your favorite song? And he mentions his favorite song. Says, can you sing it for us? My goodness. What is that? The whole vetting process being reduced to some, talent hunt? Yeah. Can't believe it.
Someone was asked to sing their
favorite
Methodist hymn.
That is long ago.
Yes,
I mean, the Methodist hymn is, I think, it was during President Mills's tenure.
Yes.
Where somebody nominated to serve as a minister comes before the committee and they say, you go to church? Yeah, he says, yes, I go to church. Oh, you must therefore know how to sing hymns. What is your favorite hymn? She mentions it and says, sing your favorite hymn for us. Another guy, I think it was Professor Phoebe or so.
Okay, Lands and Natural Resources.
Who was asked to sing the national anthem. What is happening? I raised this issue yesterday. And some very distinguished citizens, actually said that, sometimes they can tell that the nominee is so tense and it's an attempt to help the nominee, break out of the tension and feel relaxed and so on. If somebody is nominated a minister, you want to test their stress level. If they can't take stress, if sitting before the appointments committee, they become so nervous that you have to make them sing Methodist hymn and Amachi Dede songs and so on, they are not qualified to be ministers. Because the job of a minister entails a lot of stress. You understand? So if you go and sit on the appointments committee and you think that your duty is to help relieve stress and so on, what are you doing to us? The other thing which really, shocks me is when a nominee appears before the committee and a member, asks for the right to ask a question, puts up a hand and so on. And then he starts by saying, "Oh, you are a very honorable person. I know that you are an excellent person. You are more than qualified to do the job. You have no difficulty exercising your functions as a minister. Thank you very much. I have no questions to ask." Is that the purpose of the appointments committee? Is that the purpose? Praise singing? What is that? Look, I think that all Ghanaians want a serious job to be done. One, because these ministers have been nominated and are likely to assume office at a time when this country is in very deep crisis. And the crisis that this country is in dictates that processes leading to nomination, vetting, and appointment are serious processes. Yes, we are in crisis. We can go through the crisis. I don't think that I want to go through that now. Everybody knows the crisis in which we are. So the appointments committee ought to be serious. The other problem that I have with the appointments committee is that it's becoming a platform for political point scoring. That is not what it's supposed to be. You said this about my party and so on. Come and clear yourself and so on. No, I don't think that it is a platform for political point scoring. Now, because of that, the public is able to predict what is likely to happen. Who is going to stay there for 10 hours and who is going to stay there for 10 minutes and so on. It's so predictable. This morning, I'm watching social media, and the public is predicting that Okudjatu will probably be stay the longest with the appointments committee. I hope that the public is proved wrong. But that's the public expectation. As a matter of fact, a young man posted that if he's going for vetting, he should go with his pillow, his blanket, and a mattress, because it's going to be cruel. And
he's anticipating it.
Yeah, a long time. Why? Because he has been a leading advocate and made allegations against people on the other side. So the expectation is that people on the other side are going to take advantage of this platform to engage in political point scoring. Why? Is that the purpose? You would notice that the vetting of ministers has not always been with us. Indeed, when we had the Westminster type of governance, there was no vetting of ministers. Because I think that it was assumed at the time that ministers must be persons who simply are qualified as members of parliament. Because ministers were taken from parliament. So if you're a member of parliament, automatically you qualify to be a minister. So there was no need for vetting. It was when we introduced the hybrid of the American presidential system and the Westminster system, which made it possible to appoint people from outside parliament, that it became necessary to test their qualification. You understand? Their qualification to be ministers. And what is the qualification to be minister? What's the qualification to be minister? Some people even go to the extent of suggesting that we should test them for their technical knowledge and skills and so on. Well, I wouldn't object to that. You understand? But then I'm mindful of the fact that ministers are not technical heads of the ministries.
Necessarily.
They are political heads of the ministries. They are meant to be given political direction rather than technical direction. You understand? So if we overdwell on their technical competence and so on, we may not be doing injustice, we may not be doing justice to their roles as political heads of the ministries. And I've worked in the civil service, I've worked in the public service and so on. I've worked very closely under ministers and so on. Master, this whole elevated position of minister and so on, what is it? Some of these ministries can run without ministers. In fact, the ministers become an extra burden on the ministries. And sometimes they become impediments in the way of the technocrats who want to do things and so on. You know, and I know what I'm talking about. You know, the best minister may be one who is effective at coordination and good at initiating brainstorming sessions and so on, and allows, you know, some kind of participation in the decision-making process of all the relevant sectors and so on. That's the best minister.
Right. I'm sure. If I may add something to
a quick contribution to what you just said.
I think some of the ministries, by the nature of the job the minister is supposed to do, he necessarily has to be a technical person. And a key example is Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
Right.
Because he has to.
That's a specialized.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Finance, for example.
Finance, exactly. Yes. But even he also has to, because Kwesi Botwe is the longest serving finance minister, I think, and he didn't do that bad because he knew how to coordinate others to do their job. So on that point, I would agree with you on that. And I think another key factor is that he should be able to translate the vision of the president concerning this ministry to them in such a way that they'll be able to deliver. If you don't do that, then you failed. You see, so you should be able to, so I agree with him that when you go to the ministry, you should be able to have such a relationship with the technical directors to the extent that they will buy into that vision enough to realize it. You see, if you're unable to do that, then
yeah. So we're getting
the right minister. The minister has no powers of his own. Yeah. What the minister exercises is the power of the president.
Yes.
You know, so the minister, more or less, is the interface between the president and the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So his prime responsibility is to push the vision of the president, to get the technocrats and so on to buy into the vision of the president, and to find ways of realizing that vision in concrete terms. Right. That's the role of the minister.
Right.
But so when they're asking questions at the appointment committee, any question must be directed at how are you going to achieve this?
Okay.
This is your manifesto promise.
Right.
You understand? How is that going to be translated into an actionable plan to achieve objective A, objective B, and objective C?
Yeah. I get that.
That should be that.
I get that. But of course, it also doesn't take anything away from the minister if he has some technical knowledge of the space. It helps, doesn't it?
I don't think that both of us are
disagree.
Yes, I don't think that
yes, I get that.
So the minister may be a technical person, but his role as minister is not to execute.
That's true.
You know, I mean,
it's to get the job to be executed.
Exactly.
Right.
The minister is the person who translates the dream into action.
That's true.
The minister himself ought to dream sometimes, you know, and so
Absolutely. And that's why sometimes, and that's why you have had issues with some of the questions that are being asked the ministers. It's as though they're technocrats in their own right, when indeed they are not. You know, so I totally get. But Uncle C and Kingsley, something else happened in Parliament aside the Oliver's allegations, which the committee took offence and have actually subsequently summoned him to appear before the the committee to substantiate the allegations he's made. Now, if you look at the front page of the Herald newspaper, something else happened. And it says, NIA boss accuses Anodompe of telling a big lie in verbal spat. He threatened Hardcastle over micro-minority remark. And the story is right here. It says that... I was just reading it a while. Good. So this is the story. And it says the acting chief executive officer of the National Identification Authority, Wisdom Yaira Koku Deku, has accused the minority chief whip, Frank Anodompe, of telling a big lie by claiming he did not provoke the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Emefa Hardcastle, during a verbal altercation between the two yesterday. Mr. Deku, who said he sat next to Ms. Hardcastle in Parliament on Tuesday, January 28, 2025, when the incident occurred, suggested that the legislator threatened to deal with Ms. Hardcastle, which led to her angry reaction in a now viral video. The video shared widely on mainstream and social media platforms shows the MP taking offense at Ms. Hardcastle's description of his caucus as micro. In response, the minority chief whip allegedly threatened to confront her. A statement she reacted to vehemently. You are threatening me that you will take me on because you are who? My friend, don't bring yourself. What do you mean you are taking me on? Ms. Hardcastle fumed. Now, in a Facebook post hours after the minority chief whip reported the incident to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, Mr. Deku provided his account of the altercation. He claimed Ms. Hardcastle's remarks were in reaction to provocation from Mr. Anodompe. Luckily, and this is what Yara Deku wrote on his Facebook page, luckily, she was sitting next to me. You came to talk to Dr. Omani. She suggested you go back and vet the nominee. Your response was, we will not vet him today. You guys haven't seen anything yet. She replied, you are a micro-minority. What can you do? Then he said, you call me micro-minority, I would deal with you in public. She answered, who are you to deal with me? It is therefore a big lie that you did not provoke her, Mr. Deku wrote yesterday. Now, in that video, Mr. Anodompe is seen and heard asking, you call us a micro-minority? Ms. Hardcastle retorted, but you're a micro-minority. Doesn't Afenyo Markin himself use that phrase? The issue arose before the vetting of Dr. Edward Manebo, the Minister Designate for Defense, when the Appointments Committee of Parliament briefly recessed. Now, during the break, a verbal exchange reportedly took place between Mr. Anodompe and Ms. Hardcastle. Kingsley, you've seen the video, or you saw the video yourself. As you can see it, we're showing it as we speak. Some feel that this is much ado about nothing. But some also feel that for as long as the sanctity and respect of Parliament, dignity of Parliament is concerned, there are certain words you do not use. And so Emefa Hardcastle must come to Parliament and apologize for what she said. And some also saying that, well, Anodompe has lost the moral authority to even ask anybody to apologize to him because once upon a time, not long ago, sometime last year, he said that the former president was a curse to this country. And so he's lost the moral right to even want to ask for any kind of an apology. So it comes back to what you call the posture, the behavior, the character of our public servants. And that's what all of this will come down to, and whether indeed we still have some more work to do. I mean, Emefa Hardcastle is the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, and he's a member of Parliament for the Nsawam Edweji. I mean, she potentially is going to become a public servant once the public commissions and things, once they confirm her. And he is already a public servant by virtue of he being an MP. And so this is what for me comes down to in terms of, if we have to put this in its proper context, about public servants and their public behavior. And also remember that the president himself has said he is very soon going to roll out a code of conduct for his public, for public office holders. What do you make of this? You've seen the video. I mean, what impression do you get when you watch the video?
Well, you see, Emefa Hardcastle is my senior at the bar, and I met her in court several times. She's friends to some of my friends, and so I see her in that mold where she comes to court neatly dressed, good looking, friendly. That's Emefa I know. I don't know this one I saw. And I need to stress that this one I saw was not palatable.
Okay.
Because people can explain away this what happened before and whatnot. But it was very disrespectful towards Honorable Arnold Domprey, who is the minority whip. All right. And it was happening in the premises of Parliament. I don't think anyone would say this was good. I saw Joyce Bauer Mokhtari very pleasantly calming the situation. That you can see the difference between the disposition of Joyce and MFA Hardcastle. And I prefer the Joyce type where you're calming things down. If you look at it, if we are going to agree or...
Oh, actually, that's not Joyce.
That's not Joyce, is
I
it?
think it's Mary... what's the name? I think she's Professor something. I've forgotten her name.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's not Joyce. Sorry.
That's not Joyce, is it?
Let's
All right.
I've just seen the video again. That's not Joyce.
Okay.
That's not Joyce, yes.
So whoever it is, I think that is a posture I wanted to see.
Okay. From who?
From all the actors.
Okay.
I applaud the posture of Arnold Domprey at that time because he was calmer. He was very calm. All right. Yes, he has a strong voice and he was asking, what is this about? And things like that. Right. So the part where you haven't seen anything yet, no one saw it. You see, in our traditional setting, if you have a good case and you go about it the wrong way, it bounces back on you. It blows up in your face. You see, so even if she was provoked, which I don't think so, because if you look at the narrative, he came to talk to Omande Boamah. He said they were all Nook's president. He handed over to him and actually supported him in doing his thing. All right, and he was coming to tell him that what is happening is not personal. You see, then she talked to him first. Go and vet him, and he said, "No, we won't vet him today." As to how this seemingly friendly, because they don't know each other, is it? And they are sitting next to someone, to the person you came to speak to. Then she spoke to you first. As to how this seemingly friendly, interaction should generate into calling him silly. That transition was too quick.
But she said she was not referring to him.
But who was he referring to? We all know who she was referring to. Who was she referring to?
In fact, she goes ahead to say that if you want to carry that cross on your head,
precisely. That's another thing.
No, she kept repeating.
Exactly. No. Yeah, but whether you're referring to him, we know. Okay. We know that you were referring to him.
Right. Because context matters.
So why would you use not this silly guy? And you're public. You've just been appointed. How many weeks when she was appointed?
Yeah.
About a week or two.
About a week.
Yes.
A week and a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if a week and a few days can make you react this way, and we all know power corrupts, and you see, so the more you exercise your power, you may do certain things. And as I said, I don't know her like that in the premise of the court. I know her to be a very sweet, lovely lady. All right. So this shouldn't have happened. You can explain it away. You can now get people to give whether you are provoked or not and whatnot. Even if you are provoked, do you have to react this way? Now tell him off, I don't have time for you, and that is not proper. It is not proper at all. Okay? If a vetting is supposed to test your stress level, if she was put under vetting circumstance, what would be the stress level? What would be the things she will exhibit? And she's a fantastic lawyer. She's a senior partner of a law firm that I revere. All right. And so she should move. She shouldn't be found in such a situation. So if I was supposed to advise her, I would say quickly, do what you have to do for this to go so that you can focus on your work. Petroleum Commission is a huge agency of the government with a lot of issues. All right. Discoveries, whether we're going to it, whether we have funds for it, and you're going to be meeting a lot of kinds of people in the energy industry. Okay, you're going to be having lobbying groups coming to you and all that, you see. So the earlier you get this, this is not what you needed at this time. The earlier you got this resolved quickly, the better. If you have to come and render an apology for it to go away, do it. But to get people to now say you were provoked as if that you are defending, that's not the right thing to do. Deal with it quickly, let it go. All right. I've seen members of parliament, 2 members of parliament, who have been shouting across the aisle at each other. When they were appointed, they came to hug. They came to hug, they took pictures. It means that they dealt, whatever it was, they dealt with it quickly. So the earlier you deal with this, the better. But don't engage in explaining it away and whether you're provoked. And I don't think that's the best thing to do. All right? And the big picture, maybe this just latching onto the big picture of the respect that members of parliament themselves have maybe how they've conducted themselves for us to respect them. I think they should look carefully at that. We call them honorable. Now, any other person is called honorable in society. Any person. How should they conduct themselves? Obviously, we don't want them to lord themselves over us. That's not the point in re-electing them. They are actually public servants. They are here to serve us. All right? But in doing so, how do you conduct yourselves? If you are going to be showing placards in parliament, is it part of the parliamentary process? If you are going to be dancing around the leathers, what some of the songs they sing, all pressers rule and all that. How are you going to? How you have to be thinking about how the image that is coming out, and if people are going to accusing themselves that you are corrupt and how is that going to be playing out in the public domain? I think we have to look at that. They have to look at that. Because the Speaker is saying a member of parliament should be respected. If not, that's the end of democracy. I think it's deeper than that. But for Malene Senior, I think solve this problem quickly. Don't be on a defensive in trying to explain it away. I didn't do well. It wasn't the right time of the day, whatever. And you see, we are more sympathetic towards our women.
Right.
All right? And so when you explain that away, you deal with it. I think that will go. But if you're trying to defend it and explain it, then someone will say, oh, but the last time I also saw you do this, and even when you came to Petroleum Commission, you have done this, and then it will be, to get out of hand.
Right.
And you are yet to appear before the committee who's yet to approve you. So just still with that. I think that's what I would say.
I see. I respect your opinion on this. Obviously.
Well, unfortunately, this is not the worst thing that has happened in Parliament. I recall that not too long ago, a member of Parliament actually gave his colleague a very, very hefty slap on the face. You understand? And when it comes to the exchange of unpleasantries, we've seen many over the years and so on. So this is not the first time. Now, that is not to say that it can continue. You know, really, I don't think that it should continue. But in this particular case, I'm wondering what the issue really was. And I feel like laughing. Honestly, I feel like laughing. You have a 275 or 276 member parliament. The main opposition party used to have 137 seats. It's been now reduced to about 80. And there are even still contests, ongoing contests. It could come down further and so on. And when they are referred to as micro-minority, they get angry. This is really an extension of that. What does it matter if you are referred to as micro-minority or jumbo minority or humongous minority or whatever? What does it matter? Does that really matter? Is that an important issue over which, you know, we should quarrel to the extent that we are saying? You understand? Micro-minority. Is that an insult?
Well, the minority finds it very insulting and very demeaning.
How?
And very provocative.
How?
That's how they feel.
But everybody knows that we are 80 members of parliament in a 276
so call us
seat
minority.
parliament.
Why micro-minority?
We are a small minority.
Okay.
We are a small minority. Is that not a fact? Huh?
Tongue in cheek.
Is this an issue? Is this an issue? You understand? I don't see how this has become a big issue. And sometimes, some of the statements and postures really is worrying. When a member of parliament, there's a major issue being discussed, a constitutional issue, you know, about qualification to remain members of parliament and so on. And the reason for taking a certain posture, taking a certain position is that I don't want to sit on the minority side because there are spiritual implications. Right. What do you take us for? Spiritual implications. Susumkabre. You know, what is that? I think we should get a lot more serious. If we got a lot more serious, we could avoid, you know, some of these things. I recall the days when Hawa Yakubu, you know, was the only truly effective opposition in parliament. She was one lady. Look at the impact that Hawa Yakubu made. So it's not about what title you are given, it's not about how you are called by the public and so on. It's about your effectiveness. It's about how you are able to do research. It's about how you are able to speak with authority on the issues before parliament. It's about, you know, the weight you carry, you know, not just in numbers, but in substance. In substance. The substance you bring to debate. All of us are watching the debates, we are watching the discussions in parliament and so on, and we make up our minds about the quality which is being presented to us. Why? MPP may not always have 18 members in parliament. It is possible that the next election, that number may be reduced to 30. It is possible that in the next election, that number may rise to 200 and so on.
It is very possible.
Yeah, but it's also possible that it may be reduced to 30 or below. Right. You understand? In the realm of possibilities, yes. You know. How do you think that you get to 30 or you increase your numbers to 200? If those of us who are watching your performance in parliament see that we are pushing substance, we are discussing issues that concern us. Right. But if your whole concern in parliament is about what is spiritual and what is not spiritual and so on, you can't carry us along. If your whole concern is about whether somebody is calling you micro minority or jumbo minority and so on, how do you take us along? How do you increase those numbers to 100?
Those are for you the critical issues. Kingsley, I don't know whether we can, but so far, which of the nominees? I don't think you have anything else to add to what Mr. Kwesi-Pratt said so far, because I was going to ask about whether...
you see, I don't think the issue about the spiritual implications pertains to this parliament.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And of course, yes. I mean, it's a historic loss. I mean, you don't even need to debate that. Yeah. I mean, it's staring at you in the face. All right. And so I think that it behoves on the members of parliament, our members of parliament, because when you're in opposition, it's communications and parliament and members of parliament that are the pillars on which the party stands. And I think both sectors are doing their best possible. I think the parliamentarians, the ones I'm seeing, and a lot of new ones, and the way they are learning the art of parliamentary business and taking some of their seniors on, I'm impressed. All right, and they've just been sworn in as well. And I think 97 parliament, I think the members of parliament of MPP were less than 80, and they did very well. In fact, a lot of issues, a lot of streamlining that occurred in parliament was at that time the likes of J.H. Benson and people like that. And so, you see, they can do the job, and they will do the job. We are not hanged on the word micro what's the word again? Micro-minority.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not what we want to be known as. We want to be known as people who are doing a job, putting them to the tax, making sure that they do the right thing. And so any idea that will be referred to that, of course, it will be unpalatable to us. All right. And so, yes, we are showing our mettle. There's more to come. We show our mettle. As I keep on saying that for the first 6 months, we just let them settle and do the job. Then we come and do the critiquing and do the proper positioning. And it's going to happen. The next 6 to 9 months, it's going to happen. Okay. All right. And so, yes, we don't want the word micro minority. We are not a micro minority assumes it has the connotations of you are irrelevant in this house.
Okay.
But the majority, know that they will need us to do the things they have to do.
Okay.
You see, so that is what we are veering away from. Right. It is not the notion that you're irrelevant here and what can you do. It is not that. And I think one other thing too is that if you look at the side of the majority, there's so many empty seats now. I don't know what is happening because only 30 of them, because the president is choosing 60, isn't it? Half of them, because she says she can't for parliament, I think they should be reviewed. So only 30 of them may have some business to do outside. Do we shift the time for parliament to sit to be in the afternoon so that even those who have to go to the ministry will come back? We have to look at that, right? But I think there's too many absenteeism already on the majority side, and they have to look at that. So in effect, we are a minority. We have a loud voice. It's just a side. Have you seen when you go to people's houses and you have a big dog and the small dog is the one who's making noise? Yes.
I see.
You know, I mean, you make reference to 1997.
Yes.
You're right. Okay. One of the reasons why MPP grew to the extent that it became majority was the stature of members of parliament then and the way they conducted themselves. They were not engaged in theatricals.
Yeah.
I mean, people looked up to J.H. Mensah. Anytime he got up to speak, the nation stopped to listen. He had his facts, he had his analysis and so on. People like Richard Anani and so on. There were people who were focused on their job and who avoided theatricals, attention-grabbing things and so on. They were not engaged in that. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the stature that we saw in 1979 now. I'm not. I mean, even now, I look around and I say, where are the Che Mensah Bonsus? Che Mensah Bonsu cut a niche for himself. You may disagree with him on the substance of what he said and so on, but he struck you as constructive, as a gentleman, as somebody who was focused on the issues rather than on the theatricals. I mean, the days of the Kandapas in Parliament. Kandapa, I think at one stage was chairman of the Finance Committee and so on. Look at the quality of work that they produced. Look at the history of minority leaders that the MPP had. See the quality and so on. You understand? I'm not sure that they would have fought over the description of micro minority or jumbo minority and so on. Is that a substantial issue? In any case, we are a very small minority.
Yes.
In fact, you have a parliament in which NDC has overwhelming majority. Practically speaking, they can do as they please. You understand? So you are a micro minority, and the earlier you accepted this micro minority, the better it will be for everybody. And stop fighting over it.
Right.
You raise the issue of apparent absenteeism. I think we ought to be careful. Because it's not all of the parliamentary business which is done in the chamber.
True.
So many other parliamentary businesses that take place, committee level and so on, So it is possible to see that within the chamber, the numbers are small, but they may still be,
I agree. I agree with you on
that.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a danger when you have such a huge majority to relax. There's a danger, of members of parliament feeling that I belong to the majority side, we have an overwhelming majority, and therefore I need not always be present. That's a danger which the NDC must avoid.
And begin to take things for granted. Right.
It's a danger the NDC must consciously avoid.
Right. But Akwesi, do you think that, this issue also came up yesterday during the vetting? And I saw the Honourable Member of Parliament for, what's the name? Daffy Amakwal. I've forgotten the name of his constituency. Raised some serious issues with the privileges that's given a ranking member on the committee, on the vetting committee, or the appointments and confirmation committee. And the fact that he has such enormous or such an unlimited, opportunity to ask as many questions as he can. In fact, he could even do 2-3 days, 1 week, if he so pleases. And he was beginning to ask that perhaps Parliament takes a second look at it. Because yesterday, Afenyo-Markin, who's a ranking member, asked about 121 questions.
Why?
121
questions. Why? And what kind of questions were they?
I think that's a question. It's not the fact that there are many questions, but the import of the question and what it was trying to elicit from the appointee. I think that will put in the proper context to see whether it's relevant or not.
To give the person such an unlimited opportunity, it's in itself, it can be subject to abuse. If the man has a personal score to settle with somebody, he can keep the person there for 2 days and say, I'm not done about anything. It's part of the standing orders of the House. And so perhaps
they have to look at it and look at several other things as well.
And review it.
So yes, but let's not be focused on the number of questions someone asks, but the kinds of questions.
Or the relevance of the question.
Yes.
Okay.
And what is seeking to.
I think that the public will be the best
substance, judge. I agree with you.
Yes.
But if you ask 121 questions at the vetting, Abba, Massa, 121 questions. What is it that you want to get that you cannot get with 5 questions or 10 questions?
You are a lawyer.
You are trained in even cross-examination.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to do.
121 questions.
You see, I think when I don't want to bring the courtroom experience here, but you can go into to spend 30 minutes with a witness and spend 4 hours because of the way the person answers questions. You see, and so the person is not giving you the right answers for you to move on. But as I said, when it comes here, because we've already laid a foundation that we want to test the stress level of the person and know how we'll be able to galvanize the different sectors within the ministry to fulfill the president's dream and what they put in the manifesto. If that demands more questions being asked, I think it should be asked.
But you see,
if the questions are repetitious and, as we've said, sing a hymn, and I think one person was asked, I didn't watch all of them. Sing a song. One person was asked the favorite highlight.
Yes.
And then the person said,
sang some Amachi Dede song.
Yes. And then, can you sing it? So I think when we start,
or that's speaking tree.
Oh, but that's good. I mean, it means that we are being African about it. You see, but anyway, because I mean, if you come to where I'm a Kumasi person, if you want to achieve success as a minister, you are very successful, you should be able to flow in the local dialect or anywhere else. If you go to Volta, anywhere.
I won't challenge that.
Yes,
I won't challenge that. But here we have a parliament which has a prescribed language. That's what we ought to be fighting to change. You understand? Not asking nominees, to be displaying their language skills. That's a substantially different matter.
But you see, as I was saying, so if someone sits in the box and I feel I need to, in a very short time, let the person feel at ease, I can ask 1 or 2 questions. So your name is Moro Awudu. Can I call you Moro? So Moro, what do you do? These are tangential, not really important questions. But I'm just.
Is it your business to make any nominee?
Yes. Oh, yes. The very first 3 seconds, you should do that. So you get the best of the person.
If you notice that a nominee is emotionally balanced and cannot take stress and so on, you dismiss the person.
No, but you have to prove it. You have to test the person's stress level. The person will break. Then it's evidence is clear. Because remember, as
you don't prove it by helping the person to ease.
Yeah, but no. I mean, the very first minute.
Yeah, but the reality
you are just building rapport with the person, so the person can now expose himself or himself or herself. All right. So the first initial 1 or 2 questions. I don't. Wait. Let me develop this point.
Getting emotionally unbalanced people into ministry.
No. Let me develop this point. So if the first person has done the job, and it gets to your turn, probably you are the 8th person, and you are still doing that, then I have issues with that.
You're still asking them to sing a match of the day.
And then you are the 8th person to ask questions. And then we don't pass that stage. You see, so let's balance that.
But I look at this vetting thing as it's like a typical interview session. I mean, you want the person to feel comfortable.
Yes.
First 2-3 minutes, then you can start asking the tough.
And you see,
it doesn't really take anything.
In a courtroom, in a courtroom.
Is that your business?
in a courtroom.
You're also supposed to test the person's stress level.
Yes.
Well, that's
exactly. But you see, in a courtroom, if the judge makes you feel at ease, be careful. Those who are doing that, Sheshe may so rest in peace.
Yes.
You see, when he's calling examining, he's not that adversarial. He's just asking, and you are tying the rope around your neck. And so a very good lawyer knows how to do that. So the fact that we're making you feel at ease doesn't mean that we're helping you. No.
Yeah. But in all of this, I think that's, for me, the bigger issue. I mean, for me, the elephant in the room is how long it's taking us to vet our ministers and our nominees. And that's Uncle Kwesi has raised by way of concerns that, look, we need to check it because there are economic issues, there are even health issues. I mean, people are sitting there for almost 4, 5, 6 hours. It's not everybody who has the capacity to be able to do that. So we must watch it.
I agree. I think some of the Supreme Court judges, to when they were being judged, because some of them were too long.
And especially when
the CJ, I think Sophia Kufu's was way too long.
Look, health experts have said when you sit beyond a certain time limit, you have to go and
Exactly.
So
I agree.
To keep people sitting there for 3, 4, 5 hours, especially when one person alone is asking about 120 something questions.
We have to look at it.
We need to watch it. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I couldn't even ask my guests whether they were impressed with anything at all that any of the nominees said. If they are fine, if they are not, we're just going to move on because I want us to look at the National Economic Dialogue, which a committee, a 7-member committee, has been formed. And some people saying that it's actually even unnecessary. We'll come back and look at that because we know the state of the economy. So what are we going to have a conversation about? We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bread for mattress anymore? Put on some slippers, then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did it from there. Yeah? That'd be the mattress where the dead for.
Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all.
Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Great music, excellent service, great company, and meats galore. The Alisa Friday Barbecue. It's fun on Fridays at Alisa.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste. And these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me tonight.
All right, welcome back. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. We are still looking at the big stories that's making the headlines in the newspapers. So, President John Dramani Mahama on Monday, of course, issued a statement through his acting spokesperson, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, announcing the formation of a 7-member National Economic Dialogue Planning Committee with the Venerable Dr. Ishmael Yamson as its chairman. Their job is simple: plan an economic dialogue, national economic dialogue, which of course he outlined that in his 120-day social contract with Ghanaians. But that is, again, has gotten the opposition, especially members of the opposition, talking and asking really whether it is relevant or not. We have heard Dr. Namin Adam, who is the former finance minister, and also Dr. Gideon Boakun. Now, if you look at today's New Crusading Guy newspaper, it's been captured here, where it says Amin Adam rows against Mohammed's economic dialogue, says it's a disguise for lack of economic plan. It's a former Minister for Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has sharply criticized President John Dramani Mahamad's decision to establish a planning committee for a national economic dialogue, describing it as a misplaced priority aimed at concealing his lack of a coherent economic strategy for Ghana. Speaking in response to the announcement on Monday, January 27, 2025, Dr. Amin Adam argues that the dialogue is unnecessary and a diversionary tactic to whitewash what he termed numerous non-existing claims made by the president about inheriting a struggling economy. The president doesn't need a dialogue to understand the context of the Ghanaian economy. Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam stated, at the least, this dialogue is intended to cover up the president's lack of an economic plan for the country and to whitewash his baseless claims about inheriting a bad economy. He asserts that the current state of Ghana's economy does not warrant such an initiative, as the fundamentals show clear signs of recovery and growth. Highlighting key economic indicators to buttress his point, the Karaga MP pointed international reserves of $9 billion as of December 2024, which cover 4 months of imports, 1 month more than the 3 months targeted by the International Monetary Fund. He also notes an average GDP growth of 6.4% surplus in both the trade balance and current account, and reduced fiscal deficit recorded in 2024. Now, these figures show that the fundamentals of the economy are strong and that we have entered a phase of accelerated recovery. Now, so if you look at and then you also have Dr. Gideon Boakun, that this is what he says. He says the national dialogue, the national economic dialogue, he says the IMF has given us a report on the state of the economy. The Bank of Ghana has given us a report on the state of the economy. The Ministry of Finance has given us a report on the state of the economy. It says President Mahama is setting up a committee to find out the true state of the economy. Where are they going to get their data to assess the true state of the economy? We seem to be wondering. So essentially what the argument has been is that it's not relevant. It's not important. We already know what the state of the economy is. The economy was struggling, but it's doing well. And then again, if the president didn't know the state of the economy at the time he was campaigning, why was he making all the promises he was making, the statements that he made whilst he was a presidential candidate of the NDC? What is it that you want to find which is not already available? You know, so that essentially is the argument that he's positing. Angozi, what do you think?
Well, I think that there's no doubt that such fora can be very beneficial because they can lead to the achievement of a certain consensus, and that's important. You know, consensus building in a country like Ghana, which has numerous economic, social, and political problems and so on, is key, and it's a strategy that we need to adopt, you know. I worked very closely with former President John Adjei Kufuor, and one of the things that I admired about him was his ability to bring people on board from different places with different ideas and so on, to the extent that in his campaign, which led to his becoming president in 2001, he actually promised an all-inclusive government, and that was a key point of President Kufuor's, you know, campaign and so on. So I have no problem whatsoever with instituting a forum which is expected to lead to a certain consensus in dealing with a national problem. There's no problem with that. I'm happy on two counts. One, that this is a manifesto promise which is being realized, and the president even went to the extent of putting this within the time frame of the first 120 days of his administration. So it's a manifesto promise which is being kept. Right. And I would that parties kept their manifesto promises rather than, you know, threw the manifesto promises away and so on. So I think it's a good thing. I have some problems, however, and the problems I have mainly is that it does appear that the frame has already been set.
Right.
And this forum is not going to change the frame.
I see.
That's a problem for me.
Okay.
One, because you have the Minister of Finance, Kesa Atu-Fosan, already announcing that he's actually expecting an IMF team to come and help put the budget together. And everybody knows the IMF's ideological position.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what they've done over the last how many years since independence and so on, and all of us suspect that they are not going to do anything new. So if you want to remain in the IMF frame, really, you sort of restrict us, you understand? So why do you want to hold such a national forum when you've already decided to pursue the neoliberal option? Well, there are some of us who do not believe in the neoliberal option and would have taken advantage of this forum to argue our case for abandoning the neoliberal path to national development. So I feel very, very bad about the fact that it appears that the frame is already set, you understand? Again, if you look at the election campaign, President John Dramani Mahama made it quite clear that they will renegotiate the terms of the deal with the IMF. So it's still very much within the IMF frame, you know. So there's a forum, it's not a bad idea, but the frame is set.
It's set.
And if the frame is set, it's worrying for people like me who want to go outside the frame and look at other options for national development and so on.
Right.
Then you look at the appointments to the preparatory committee.
Right.
And that also confirms that the frame is already set. You know, I mean, you take Dr. Ishmael Yamson, the frame is set. Same neoliberal order, it comes from the multinational, you know, community, you know, which also is not substantially different from the IMF and the World Bank and their prescriptions and so on. So the frame is set. You look at all the people who are coming from academia, and we've been listening to them over the last couple of years, and it's the same frame. So that's my problem with this. I recall that in the Professor Mills administration, a similar forum was held at Senchi that became known as the Senchi Consensus. And I remember very clearly that the New Patriotic Party decided to boycott that forum and actually threatened its members not to attend that forum and so on. I think that's not the right attitude. I think that's not the right attitude. We should engage. Even for people like us who believe that the frame is set, if there's an opportunity, we should go there and argue that the frame is set and that we need to get out of this frame, which has not helped us at all over the last couple of years. As a matter of fact, I was in this country when in 1982-83, we decided to use the same frame to embark upon the economic recovery program. And I know the devastating consequences that that program had on our country. I mean, within 12 months, more than 300,000 workers lost their jobs. If you look at the value of the cedi, cumulatively from that time up till now, the cedi has been devalued by 26,000%. If you look at the number of state enterprises which have collapsed and so on, even if you look at access to social services, you see a huge decline.
Right.
You understand? So I think that what we need to change is to change the fundamental structure of the national economy with a view to making sure that Ghanaian resources are owned by Ghanaian people, or Ghanaians have a major part, in deciding what to do with Ghanaian resources. And then subsequently making sure that these resources are exploited for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. I think this is the only solution to the economic problems confronting Ghana.
Okay.
And when you have Sam Jonah tell us that Ghanaian interest in gold mining is less than 1% and actually laments it, you should realize that we have a huge problem. And you don't get out of that problem by using the same frame which led to the privatization, excessive privatization, doctrinaire privatization of the gold sector of the national economy. Yeah. To the extent that we even sold our golden shares in Anglo Gold Ashanti, a decision which up to now, I can't understand how that decision was made. The golden share was sold. And now you have less than 1% interest in gold mining. Ghanaian interest in gold mining is less than 1%. And then we are talking about privatization of ECG. And sometimes you wonder at these politicians,
what are they thinking?
What are they thinking? You're too kind.
I know what you want to say, Uncle
You
Peter.
just wonder.
I know what you want to say.
Because
I'm trying to discourage you from saying that. So what are they thinking?
One of the problems that we had with the Nana Akufo-Addo government, and we fought the Nana Akufo-Addo government because of its attempt to privatize the ECG.
Yeah.
The NDC was a major beneficiary of that fight. 2 weeks after taking power, then you look us in the face and say, we are also going to privatize ECG. What's the difference?
Anyway.
In terms of policy and so on.
Right.
In terms of even the structure of policy and so on. What's the difference?
What's the difference? Okay. Except that I've heard John Jinapos say this repeatedly, that in principle, the minority in the NDC has not been against privatizing ECG. The problem they had was a PDA model, which they had a problem with. But we can have that conversation.
But who says that what he's saying is the truth?
Okay.
We were opposed to the privatization of ECG on account of the history of privatization and the causes of privatization and so on.
Right.
And are you saying that the NDC did not benefit from that criticism of privatization?
Okay.
One, just a minute.
Okay.
One, if you take ECG itself as a state institution, so we have attempted to privatize ECG before.
Yeah, true.
We brought in the Electricity Company of France to take over the revenue mobilization aspects of ECG's work. Privatize that. What happened? It was one of the worst disasters in the management of the ECG. So there's a history of privatization in the ECG. There's a history of privatization in that sector. We brought in Aquavitans Rand from South Africa, to take over the Ghana Water Company. It was a total disaster. There's a history. Since 1966, we have privatized close or more than 500 state enterprises. How many of them survived privatization? All of them collapsed, except two. Lancaster Hotel and Movenpick Ambassador
Hotel.
All the rest collapsed.
I get a point. It hasn't worked in the past, and it will not work today.
I don't see how privatization is going to work.
Professor Kwekwas has been following our discussion on the how do you call it, the attitude of our appointment committee members towards some of the nominees, and he's not been happy. He's just sent a very long article he's just authored. Prof, I don't think I can read all, but I'll just read these two quick paragraphs. And also let me say that Mr. Godwin Edith Tamaklo, I'm told, is on with us. Mr. Godwin Edith Tamaklo, are you? Okay, he's gone. Okay. We had called him to speak to this publication of most of the newspapers about Oponi and Agongo being freed, the state dropping their charges. There was some clarity we needed to seek, but if we're able to get him back, that's fine. If we're not, maybe we'll do it maybe tomorrow. But Professor Kukwasa says Article 78(1) of the Constitution establishes a critical safeguard in our... He's on. Okay, all right. So can we quickly do this? I beg you, just 2 minutes. I beg you, just 2-3 minutes. Just 2-3 minutes. Godwin, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana.
Good morning.
And
good morning to your panelists.
Okay, I hope you're doing very well.
I'm okay, sir.
Congratulations, though. We haven't had the chance to talk, on this platform since you were appointed. So congratulations. And we've already seen that you've hit the ground running. And lots of the newspapers are even reporting some of the things you've said. You're talking about the president's vision being giving Ghanaians cheaper fuel as to the best of his ability. Anyway, so if you look at the daily graphic, just a quick one. Oponi Agongo freed, state drops charges. So Justice Agbenosi is reporting that after almost 7 years of trial, a former chief executive of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Stephen Okwabena Oponi, and businessman Said Agongo walked free from the High Court yesterday after the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, withdrew the 27 charges against them. The two were accused of causing financial loss of more than 271 million to the state in series of fertilizer deals during Dr. Oponi's tenure at Cocoa Board. When the case was called yesterday, the prosecution led by State Attorney Enna Mensah informed the court, presided over by Justice Abuaje Tando, of the Attorney General's decision to withdraw the case. Why did you decide to withdraw the case? What reasons went into it, first of all? Briefly, sir.
No, first of all, the Attorney General under Article 88 has the power to initiate criminal proceedings. The Attorney General also has the power under Section 59 of our Criminal Offences and the Procedure Act, which allows the Attorney General to at any point do a withdrawal or a nolle prosequi. For me, this thing ought to have even happened much earlier. The prosecution itself was completely unwarranted. There was no basis in law for the prosecution to even start in the first place. What the Attorney General has done, that is yesterday, should have been done much earlier. Moreover, if you look at the trajectory of this trial, and I pray that no Ghanaian should ever be made to go through this particular kind of criminal trial. It doesn't meet the ends of justice. Look, Moro, what Dr. Oponi and Seydou Agongo have gone through, no Ghanaian should be made to go through that again. That trial was nothing short of the Spanish Inquisition. If you have a situation where the judge who started this case, Justice Onyenuga, after prosecution closed its case, the lawyers of Dr. Oponi filed what we call submission of no case. Guess what? During the trial, 14 pieces of documents were tendered through prosecution witnesses by defense attorneys. The judge himself asked the prosecution, do you have any objection to the tendering in of these pieces of documents? The prosecution on record said no objection. And the judge proceeded to admit this document. Guess what? When Justice Onyenuga went to write his submission of no case ruling, he on his own now decided to, as it were, reject those documents that he had admitted as though he was sitting as an appeals court judge on his own initial admission of the documents. Why should we do this to any citizen? Why in God's name should we do this? So the decision by the learned Attorney General, the Honorable Dr. Dominic Akrotinga Ayine, to withdraw all the criminal charges against Dr. Oponi and Alhaji Seydou Agongo is the best decision that we have seen. This is how justice ought to be administered to fellow citizens, without fear, without anything.
Okay.
I look, I feel that once again, no citizen of this republic should be made to go through this horror of criminal trial. No. And it doesn't meet the ends of justice at all, Moro.
Are there, just quick one, are there any plans of compensating them somewhat for what they've been through the last 8 years, or that's not even come up at all?
Freedom is priceless.
Okay. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you so very much for your time. Godwin Edith Tamaklo is the acting CEO of the National Petroleum Authority and also the lawyer for Mr. Opuni, who is the former Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Cocoa Boards. So quickly, I was just reading the message from Professor Kweku Azar, who says that Article 78(1) of the Constitution establishes a critical safeguard in our democratic governance. Ministers of state shall be appointed by the President with the prior approval of Parliament. The prior approval requirement is not a mere formality. It is a vital check to ensure that individuals entrusted with executive authority are competent, ethical, and capable of serving the public interest. It upholds accountability, transparency, and meritocracy. Parliament, through its committee, is tasked with scrutinizing nominees' qualifications, experience, integrity, and vision for public service. The process is meant to assure citizens that those who lead critical sectors of economy are deserving of the responsibility. However, how Parliament discharges this duty is as important as the duty itself. Unfortunately, recent prior approval proceedings raise serious concerns about whether this crucial legislative function is being treated with the seriousness it deserves. Instead of substantive policy discussions, we have witnessed too many moments of triviality and misplaced priority. A nominee was asked to sing a Methodist hymn, and that was pressed to discuss personal matters, his mother, and source of emotional support. Questions seemingly designed to probe his affiliation with Freemasonry rather than assess his competence for the public office. And it goes on and on and on and on. Essentially, sharing the sentiments that were expressed by the Venerable Uncle Kwesi Pratt. So, yes, on the economy.
Okay. These are one of the instances where you wish you had spoken before Uncle Kwesi spoke, because that's the same ideas I have. My question is that budget is about to be read, isn't it? And so if budget is about to be read and they are now going on this national discourse, is that supposed to feed into the budget that's about to be read? And it's the first budget by this government, all right, which is going to have a telling on the rest. So is it going to abide that? How's it going to be fed into that? And so then I was thinking the timing of which probably is suspicious. And then, of course, it
would make sense that the outcome of this national economic dialogue will feed into or will find expression in the budget.
Yeah, but then when is the budget? When are they going to complete that? When are they going to condense that?
Would most likely be read in March.
Yes, but then it's too short a time. Because the budget, they are now preparing the budget.
Right.
Okay, and they have idea as to what they want to do within the first year.
Right.
All right, so I think it's misplaced. And it feeds into the narrative that he's now getting the consensus of how to run the economy, but he must have had the idea. But back to this issue of, and then the particular persons appointed, I think they are also multinational trained for a long time. So they build their credibility in that space. And so that it doesn't make room for other views. All right. And then IMF coming in. The same thing I share those views. And the issue of noli prosequi. You see, some of us thought there's a way of doing criminal matters of this nature, where if you sense that the next election may go in your favor, you throw as many spanners into the wheel, so that by the time we have the national elections, which you probably are sure you'll win, the case will have finished. So they issue the noli prosequi. I am thinking the timing of issuing the noli prosequi looks like that. Okay? Looks like that. And so, if even you wanted to issue a noli prosequi, let it come across as having reviewed the evidence, but not what happened when the case was going on. It's having reviewed the evidence. And you see, the thing about noli prosequi is that when you issue noli prosequi, you don't need to explain why.
Right.
You have to look at the resources for prosecuting, and you think these are the ones that are urgent at this moment in time. Remember a crime there's no limitation to a crime.
But if
so you don't need
if
to.
you take this Opuni and Agongo matter, I get the point you're
Yes.
making. And that's under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
But
So
if you take
so
this, already when you read what's happening on social media, people are saying it's a political decision.
Well, it's also a political decision
Yes.
to issue Noli Prosequi.
Yes.
It's coming too quick.
Yes.
All right. So let it be that you have reviewed the evidence and you think this should happen.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that, it seems to be one of the initial actions taken. Then you are feeding into the political narrative,
right.
which may not be what is before you.
Right.
All right. That's one.
Okay.
I think I have several other things, but because of time.
I get it. We'll just pray for long life so that next week, Wednesday, when hopefully you're able to join us, inshallah, we'll look at it again. But Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, "Good morning, my brother. In my humble opinion, the chairman of the vetting committee should be held responsible for what is happening at the vetting committees. It's clear that the chairman has lost control to manage the proceeding. Afenyo Marking has gradually managed to take control of the affairs from him, the chairman. The majority at the vetting committee are seen to be minority. I expect the NDC majority to invoke Article 208 anytime the minority misbehaves. It says it is not by nothing the good people have given the NDC an overwhelming majority in Parliament, and for that matter, the majority at the vetting. I'm so disappointed the chairman is not helping matters. I'm watching you. Okay, that's Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Oh, okay. Your daughter and and my colleague here, Annie, says she can give us a few more time because apparently we'll be going straight to Parliament. And so, yes, but he has to leave. So obviously, just in case you have something you want to say, please feel free to say.
Stick to schedule.
We should stick to schedule. Okay. Yes. All right. Annie, you've heard of Chris. He says we should stick to schedule, which is at 10 o'clock. And then let me quickly look at this. So Farouk says that please ask Kingsley what are not said about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Is it disrespectful or not? And did he apologize? I think that he also goes ahead to say that I think the privatization of ECG isn't about selling off the entire company, but rather outsourcing power distribution and revenue collection. However, the funds will still go directly to the national grid, similar to how it operates in the Western world. That's coming from him. And then let me look at this one. Also says that, so good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabena. My humble appeal to the chairman of the appointment committee is to be patient and should not allow the minority to hijack the committee, and due to that, disallow Honorable Suhuyini to make suggestions. The committee is not above criticisms, and I don't think the allegations of bribery can make vetting stop today. If the executive can be alleged of taking bribe, why not Parliament and its committee? It's a non-starter. Let the committee sit today after with lawyer Baka Vomawo, and let's see how it goes. Palgrave has sent me a message. He says, I have been pondering over the use of such words from the CEO, who is yet to be confirmed by the Public Services Commission, Acting Petroleum Commission. Last week, I made a post to the Public Services Commission to scrutinize all appointments and be sure that each one is fit for purpose in accordance to the Act of Recruitment in the public service. I am sure she has realized the backlash of her behavior. I've noticed that on the floor of the House of Parliament, members of the majority are pleading clemency. Any person who A, assaults, obstructs, molest, or insult any member going to or returning from or being within the precincts of Parliament commits an offence and shall be liable on conviction to a fine or to imprisonment. Parliament Act 965, Act 300, specifically under Section 28. But this brings us to a broader conversation of values. We need to have a strong value-driven society. We've celebrated so many people who use harsh words on public people, leaders and persons of interest who serve the public. Citizens can insult presidents, sitting and former, and the list is endless. I recall in 2000 when I was doing my postgraduate in South Africa, I studied the 8 values that President Mandela modeled South Africa after, especially post-apartheid. I hope and pray that we start with some sanctions beyond apologies. People must soon realize that service must be in humility. There's many more I want to write, but let me pause here. I'm calling for a value-driven Ghana. That's from Palgrave Boache Dankwa, who is former government spokesperson on governance and security. Mark Boafo also sends us a message. A regular viewer of the show. He says that, good morning. The appointed committee is to assess the nominees of the president during the public hearings and to determine their fitness for the office. This is a crucial role in ensuring that presidential nominees are suitable for office and that the executive branch is held accountable for its actions. I'm waiting for the day nominees will go to the vetting alone with no chief or relatives and friends behind them. And it says typical duration of parliamentary vetting, 1 to 5 days, but we can take up to several weeks or even months in some cases. In 2017, the vetting process for Ghana's Minister for Energy, Boakye Jaakon, lasted for 5 hours and 30 minutes, spanning 2 days. Ghana Web. In 2021, the vetting process for Ghana's Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, lasted for approximately 7 hours. But yesterday, interestingly, Afenyo-Akin said 2 days. That was factually inaccurate. And I noticed Suhindi wanted to draw the attention of the chairman that he was factually inaccurate with that statement. Kojochu Wafo says, see Pagrivo, and now he knows value-driven society. Okay, all right. Alhaji Swari says the MPP are trying hard to vent unnecessary attacks on Mesa Mefa Hardcastle to assuage their pains from the heavy defeat they had in the last elections, but it will not reverse anything. They are trying to take advantage of the fact that in our society so far, it is about a woman versus a man. The woman is always wrong, and you can clearly see that from the comments and posts from the MPP misogynists on social media. Why should that be the case? I'm glad that they did not get their way because I saw some pushbacks and reasonable posts on the ladies' defense from some voices of reason. We're growing as a society, I must admit. At this point, it is clear that the MPP's plan is to brew a storm in a teacup for every trivial matter to bounce back from the heavy defeat they tasted last December. But they are not doing that with reasonable propaganda. Some of the kindergarten spin doctrine I've seen them do against a government that is barely 1 month in power are laughable. You guys brought governance to lowest of the lows, but every fix it, and you want to do propaganda with Belacqua being an imported water from the UK to bounce back. That's the strategy. Then the gap is going to increase from 1.7 million to 2.7 million in 2028, inshallah. Okay, so one of our hardworking sales guys, Neil Lamte, today you are he's also the business development manager here. You're celebrating your birthday. Kingsley, I know you want to leave. Just a second. I want to wish you a happy birthday. Neil Lamte, business development manager here with the Ignite Group. You're celebrating your birthday. He's a fantastic chap, and we hope that I wish you God's blessings and guidance and everything else that you wish for yourself. And also, today's the birthday of another well, I call he's a big man. Yes, he's a big man. He's a man whose name everybody, I'm sure, in Ghana has heard. I'm talking about Ibrahim Mahama, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Engineers and Planners and also the Chief Executive Officer of Jata Cement. Today is your birthday. Absolutely fantastic guy, very kind-hearted guy. May you grow in bounds and may you grow and become, may you age gracefully. Let me put it. So happy birthday, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. I don't know whether he'll be throwing a party. Anyway, Ongozi, thank you so very much for your time. And it's always a pleasure having you. We thank you so very much for your service to Mother Ghana. And also Kingsley Amwakwa Buidu, who is a private legal practitioner and also a law teacher or a law lecturer, and also a member of the MPP's legal team. Thank you so very much for your time. All right. Today, by the kind courtesy of Annie, we've enjoyed 8 more minutes. And so let's also thank Annie for a charity and magnanimity. Thank you so very much for that. My name is Awudu Moro. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Stay with Metro. Bye-bye.
Give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee, please, in 2 minutes, just tell us about yourself. Just 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me use this opportunity to thank the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Her Excellency the Vice President, Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman, for recognizing me in this role. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the 13 traditional councils. Let me also use this opportunity to thank the good people of Shai Osudoku for giving me the nod to step in the shoes of my late husband when he died in a car accident after winning the 2016 NDC primary.
Please, thank you, but tell us about yourself.
My name is Linda Obinewa Akwele Oklu. I come from a sibling of 5. I'm the second born, and a twin. My mother is a girl from Osu, my dad, Fanti. I have worked with Provident Insurance. I have worked with Standard Chartered Bank, SNAIT, Infinity Investment, and Old Mutual Life. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and Iricop brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the Iricop with cocoa blend, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and Iricop organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
More than 80% of global trade is carried by sea. Most of the products we consume daily travel through ports, making them a key link in the global supply chain. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority is committed to ensuring the enhancement, resilience and